Why do I go to squat parties? Well, that's quite a good question, really. It's more like, I think, that human beings are radars and we pick up on certain frequencies. And you don't even notice the frequencies you're not picking up on. And that means to say is I made no conscious decision to get into squat parties. I just found myself here because that was where I was heading anyway, because those are the frequencies that I'm picking up on. And that's to do with a sense of freedom, a sense of being, well, you can put it in concrete terms. You can say, I don't want to be told what to wear, I don't want to be told where to sit, I don't want to be told how much to pay, and I don't want to be told when to stop dancing. Those are the simplistic concrete terms, but what that implies is something quite larger. Unfortunately, like any dream, it tends to crack at the edges. Like any group of people, they're human beings, unfortunately. And they don't always live up to their own aspirations. That's my take on it.
Squat party scene started for techno, I think, in sort of about 1990. But there was there's lots of different crews doing different things, so there's no real particular time. That was the first time that it really started to kick off every week, sort of 1990, 91. But before that, there was still squat parties. It just wasn't techno, so a lot of punk parties and things.
Someone's got to decide that they want to do a party in the first place, and then we would go out and find a few suitable venues. We would open those venues up and test the electricity, see if the electricity was on. If it wasn't on, we would try and turn it on again, and we would try and turn the water on. Then we would secure the building up, and either we would then leave it until, if we hadn't been noticed, and leave it until the weekend before we moved in, or we would legally occupy it under the Criminal Justice Act of 1971, using particular bit of section 6, which gives us right to make empty disused properties our home, and we sort of exploit this old British law to our own means, and then we advertise it through flyers and party lines and just social circles, word of mouth. I suppose I was originally, before I sort of got involved in parties, I was involved in politics, and I'm into it from a political angle. I like I've always encountered, since quite a young age, like periods of homelessness in my life, and I like the empowerment that you can get through massing people together in strength in numbers, and the fact that we can legally occupy any space we want that's empty within London, and create that space and create an environment that is like a free zone, that is where the government's laws don't apply, and it's like when people can experience like freedom on a level that they couldn't normally experience on the street.
There isn't any one kind of person. It depends where you go and what squat parties as well, different things. Different squat parties run by different crews attract different crowds. I think, speaking for London, they tend to attract a lot of Italians and Spanish, a lot of Polish, and actually quite a lot of European people. A massive amount of Italians and Spanish for some reason or other. They seem to have just latched onto it and coming out. So there's still quite a lot of English, and there's a lot of different, pretty much mixed in terms of sexes, and quite mixed in terms of age. There's quite a lot of people go out.
If you have a party in London, you ultimately bring in all of London's urban problems will come into the party. So whatever problems the community's got will manifest in the party. And then you can deal with it as much as you're capable of dealing with it. We've had every extremity from knives to guns to gangsters to fighting and all the works, and you just need to be prepared for it and need to actually be able to cope with those sort of things. But at the same time, a lot of sound systems don't address these problems and find it easier to ignore them and let them go on. I am of the attitude that people have got to be able to take care of themselves. I think if everyone can look after themselves, then they can look after their friends and the people that they've come with. And if everyone's looking after each other, then we essentially won't have any problems, because we've all got the same basic moral values that we want to do what we want to be free, we want to have a laugh, we want to have a party, but we don't want violence, we don't want people to steal, just really simple things. They generally threaten us with either sending in the tactical support group, which are like a armed police force which sort of come and storm in and are quite violent and forceful, or they threaten us with fines, or they threaten us with criminal conviction, and we generally ignore them because it's all about power. Sometimes they have more power than we do, and sometimes we have more power than them. And when we've got strength of numbers and a secure building and a thorough knowledge of the law, then we can we can do what we want basically. We generally are quite underhanded, but so the police, they lie as much as we do, and it's a game of sort of cat and mouse, but we try and do it all with a sense of humour, and that's what sort of keeps it going, I think.
How would I describe what a party is saying there?
Yeah.
People wanted to be free. Tony Blair, President Bush, whoever you are, you're running, you bomb people, you do all this shit, fair play to you. Not kill yourself out. Can we have just this one small space for ourselves? Just for ourselves, to relax, you know what I mean? Just for ourselves at home. I'm sorry, but to my dying day and on my last breath, I'll say we are angels, all of us. Because we are reclaiming the world, we're recycling the world. We're rumbles. That's all I've got to say about that.
I think it does tend to be harder because, and the other thing, it tends to be harder because it's colder normally, so faster, harder beats, bigger cold warehouses, you know, you want warehouse beats that hard and keep going through the night.
All sorts of music's played. It's sort of in London, you've got London's sort of unique for its sort of acid techno scene that you don't really get anywhere else, but we play jungle, hardcore, gabba, hip hop, ragga, everything.
for me, like, and for what Roland does as well, we come from a scene, so to speak, which is the acid techno scene, but it's not really acid music anymore, most of it. So I just call it like new school acid techno, but even that, it means we pigeonhole types of sound into more and more little boxes. But you know, it's still hard London techno kind of sounds, but all of it, you know, has slightly different themes. We've kind of got our own sound now, and we're just exploring that. And you know, if you hear a good record now, it tends to be, oh, I really want to do something like that in our style.
Our crew's made up of people that we've known for a long time and people that are all our DJs we've just been friends with a long time, so it's sort of, we keep it quite closed in a sense, so it's not open access. That's because our motivations for doing it are because we like what our friends play, and we like giving our friends and people around us that have got artistic music and creative skills exposure and an opportunity to sort of, you know, to share it with everyone else.
There is an attitude there in the whole genre of squad parties. I mean, you know, squad parties are kind of saying, we're going to have a party, we're going to do it in this building, we don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks, basically. I mean, you know, you are kind of just saying, right, we're not going to obey any rules, just going to do it completely legally. And that's something exciting, and there's an attitude about that. And with that attitude comes a certain amount of kind of, well, it's got to be a bit of attitude in the music to kind of, you know what I mean? It doesn't seem right to go to a party and hear like deep house, you know what I
The thing that actually got me into it was the drugs, like completely. Sorry if it's the wrong answer, but you know, that's what got me into it. You know, I was just like done an E, went out, heard the repetitive beat of a 909, and didn't look back really.
Yeah, ecstasy, usually a good one. That's kind of what the party scene was built on. Speed, again, quite a bastion. Ketamine, definitely lots of. LSD, quite a lot, but not necessarily so much with people that have been doing it a long time. I think a lot of people have definitely melted their brains on it. Lots of weed, lots of hash, alcohol, we like that one, definitely a winner. Yeah, really anything most people can get their hands on.
Okay, this is ecstasy spelled. Ecstasy. XTC. Like XTC. They were banned from Bristol. Like, but this pill here, like, mate, this tiny little fucking amount of drugs here, it can transform your life.
Ecstasy.
Right? It can't transform your life really. What it does, it opens up doors within your fucking brain. Oh, shut up, you wanger. Sorry.
Ketamine, technically it's an anaesthetic. It comes in 3 different forms. You can get like, I think it's baby anaesthetic, veterinary anaesthetic, and army grade. It separates your body basically. You go into different dimensions. You've got 2 different sorts of rituals. You have the ritual of cooking it up, and then you have the ritual of watching all the vultures legging out the room as subtly as everyone heads to the kitchen. It can be really dark. Sometimes it can be really good, but in that sense I don't find it any different to smack. People will be having a wicked conversation and like all of a sudden, like Pan comes in, no one's eyes move, everyone sniffs the line, and then the entire room descends into silence, and it's just kind of like, okay, and we do this why? Because yeah, we're all quite creative, intelligent, hopefully articulate people some of the time. Yes, we reduce ourselves to dribbling 2-year-olds on a regular basis and think it's funny. Yeah. Self-realisation moment, I'm sure.
Right, yeah. Nude, just a short plankton to leg you nude. How's I'm flinging. Climb buying a bra with my glean clackers. It's a large pinny with large footesh. Me and Kathy Badon are groping up wells and free shakes for nun's grappling hook. The craps of flares are getting right onto our paddish lados. Yours limpingly, plankton boy.
Society today is trying to separate everyone. In that sense, they're all trying to get us to sit at our little computer stations and order our food and watch our telly, get our entertainment, get our education, do you know what I mean, even get their sexual experiences through this tiny little box, and I really, really dislike that, and I think a lot of people do as well. And the party scene, I think that's one thing that really, really scares the authorities, is the sense that with so many people being that connected, that's the only way any changes are ever going to get made, is if people are actually talking. And there is definitely, I think revolution's probably far too dramatic a word, but there's a change in the air in that sense, and that's not only with parties, that's with a lot of the anti-globalisation organisations, just capitalism, whatever, do you know what I mean? But there is a definite change in consciousness, which I do really, really appreciate. And I think parties, and taking ecstasy especially, ecstasy has got a lot to do with it, because admittedly, yes, okay, you're on drugs, and so therefore people think a lot of what you think on drugs is not valid, but it is, it's your brain, it's just in a different place. Okay, obviously when you're running around going, yeah man, I love you, you know that's a drug-induced experience, but at the same time I think a lot of positive stuff does come out of it.
My uncle was a working man. He used to work away for weeks, and then finally when he was done, he would come between my cheeks. My auntie was a funny one. She used to twist and turn and moan. She used to lick my tinkler till it dripped when we were home alone. My sister was a quiet one, but they're the ones to fear. She used to tie me up for hours on end with razor blades and shears. My dad, the dear, oh bless his soul, he's gone, you know, he died. But occasionally mum digs him up and has another ride. Fist fucking is a subtle art, especially in the arse. My brother's only 8 years old, he handles it with class. Some people think of village odd, they call us inbred fucks, to which we simultaneously respond, come hither, suck our cocks. And when people come to visit, they always seem to fear. We only eat a few of them at solstice twice a year. And I'm only 10 years old, but growing every day. I'm waiting for that day to come when I'm big and hard and strong, then I shall have my way.
Here today we've got an art exhibition by a sort of subdivision of our sound system. I think it was earlier this year. When we got back from doing a party in Barcelona on New Year's Eve, filled with art, all of our artists got together and decided they wanted to put on some art exhibitions displaying their work, and I think this is like the fourth event in a series of like 3-4 day exhibitions with workshops and film nights and live music representing the underground scene basically. The local residents don't want this building to be demolished because they're going to build a block of flats here, and the angle of having a community art space in Hackney at the moment is actually quite a good one. There is need for things like this because essentially we've got loads of really, really talented people around us, and it's just sort of so we can share art with each other and actually create an artistic environment where we all fit in, because we don't fit in into art galleries because they don't really, you know, they throw us out generally, just for the way we look and act.
Basically, all the pictures I take are of squat parties. The occasional pictures you see of parties in newspapers or things like that, they always seem to be about drugs or fucked people or really sort of harsh, in-your-face pictures. And so I never ever take pictures of people doing drugs. I think there's far too much bad press out there. You know, I go for the community, I go for the people, and I do see beauty in them. I really see beauty in, like, I see beauty in rubble, I see beauty in like falling down brick walls and things like that, and I try to show that in my pictures. I got to meet more and more people who are interested in the same thing, which is creating not just a party with sound and people dancing, creating an entire sensual experience. So loads of visuals, loads of sound, loads of things going on, performances, things like that. Parties are a little slice of freedom in our lives, and it's not just escapism on drugs. It is a slice of freedom, just the way I walk into a party and I feel totally relaxed and at home, because I'm suddenly, it's not even pressures I can put into words, but I'm not under a lot of pressures. I am just in general everyday life, and it is, you know, a lot of rules that we have to live by don't apply there.
Our party, which art in Peckham, hallowed be thy warehouse. Thy techno come, thy will be done on coke as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily brew and forgive us our blags, as we forgive them what blag also. Lead us not into the meat wagon and deliver us from the filth. For thine is the acid, the techno and the warehouse, forever and ever. Amen.
If I got AIDS, what would I do?